I'm really pleased to be here with Christian, an old friend from Postnord, and we're going to talk about a topic that actually is quite new for me, which is going to be AI and the last mile. Of course, I'd like, Christian, if we could, to relate it a bit to out of home, because I'm really, as you know, keen on that subject. But tell me a little bit about your feeling. Where can AI really make a difference in the last mile?
I think the AI can make changes for everything we look into, and especially also on last mile. I have primarily used AI the last 6 years, more or less. It started by looking into mid-mile, and one of the solutions that we made was actually to find out the fill rates of our trucks.
Okay.
So what we did was we actually take a security picture that looks into, we have a video of all our trailers when we fill them because we're logistics. And what we do there is actually we take a picture from that video stream every minute, and then we are converting the 2D picture that we have to a 3D picture with depth. Okay. So we can actually see how we are building up, stacking up the parcels and how much air is left. So we get an almost real-time picture on how we are filling the trucks. And that's where it started for me. This is when I found out that AI, especially in combination with cameras, computer vision, actually makes fantastic possibilities. So that was the early beginning. And since
I have to share one thing, because I said I haven't been too involved in AI, but this is about 10 years ago when I was part of the startup team for Amazon. There was a really smart guy there that created algorithms that would predict what people would order.
Yeah.
A guy called Russell Algor. If anyone's read the book, The Everything Store, he's in there.
Yeah.
And can you imagine, almost 10 years ago, Amazon had that technology. But anyway, tell me more about
No, but actually also when I think about it, the first time I used it was actually back in 2007, 16, 17, which also soon now is 10 years ago. We started to build a digital twin of our terminal. And that was also the same thing. We wanted to predict when things fail. So this is where it's really, really good, is actually to make predictions. And when we turn into last mile, I think that we have to look at it. There are possibilities both in operational, but also in understanding our consumers. I think the first trial I did in last mile, and now we go back memory lane again. I was doing a test with IBM Watson.
Okay.
Do you remember IBM Watson? It was like the super computer, and what I tried to do was...
Probably rather large compared to what you'd have today.
Yes, today it probably doesn't feel anything compared to the GPUs of NVIDIA. But the thing was, I was puzzled about our non-at-home visits. And I wanted to see if I could predict if people were home or not. And I wanted to do that based on history, because we had a lot of customers which we were serving, because the main product in Denmark is a home delivery. We have been having lockers and all these things since 2008, I think. But that's the preferred thing. And we had a lot of customers that we visited, knocked on their door, and they were not home, because they didn't think about that they actually ordered a home delivery, because it was just a part of our the standard service. So what I wanted to do was actually to figure out how many percentage, or could I predict that this customer was not home, and then could I maybe turn the communication in a different way, saying that instead of saying we are coming to you with the parcels today, and if you don't want it there, you can push a button, and then we will redirect it to a Fudo point or to a parcel lock. So what I wanted to do was actually be proactive and say that can you confirm that you're home? Otherwise, we will actually go directly to a Fudo point. And so I was just trying to see if I could do that. And the thing was, in very short time, based on the data, I could predict more than 50% of the people that they actually would be home or not. And I tried to sell it internally. It didn't work because there was other agendas. But I tried to see if we could convert the way that we are talking to our customers in the SMS, that we could actually make them more telling us where they were, instead of we just expected that they were home. Then we could actually say to them, are you going to be home? Say yes if you're home, otherwise we think you're not home.
But you could even probably use AI to predict what type of person in what scenario will be home.
And that is...
And what type of person...
I completely agree, because that's one of the other things I think when it comes to AI possibilities in the future. I think that we had, due to our legacy being in letters, you remember the direct mails?
Yeah.
Direct mails knew quite a lot about it because we collected all the data we could from demographics. We knew where you were living, we knew what kind of house you had, we knew all that from a stereotype, which meant that we actually know a lot about the end consumers. And I think that if we utilize that way of thinking in our parcel business, we could actually communicate in a completely different way to every end consumer as an individual, more or less, because we know their social status, we know where they're living, we know if they're home or not because we try to deliver. We know a lot of information about where they're purchasing and stuff like that. Of course, we are not using all that, but I think we could make better delivery by understanding and crunching these data in order to make something that is picture perfect for a good delivery for every end consumer.
I reckon, Christian, if you could put interactive delivery management, so you have interactive communication plus AI together, it will be unbeatable.
I agree.
Talk about this. I want to ask one other thing, because I cannot end a conversation without talking about lockers.
Yeah.
There are loads of areas for AI, but one of them that really interests me is predictive maintenance.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? I recently bought a new gas boiler. And what I was really impressed about is the company said to me, we can predict that it will fail. So you don't have to wait for something to go wrong. What's your thinking about that with lockers? Has anyone done it? Do you think it's going to happen?
No, but I'm going to talk to my friends about it because I think it should be a part of the product. So I'm gonna talk to Switchbox about it. We roll out many of the lockers in us, and I would probably say that because it doesn't take many sensors to be put in there in order to figure out what is moving and what's moving. Are the compartments? Are they maintenance? You can probably have a sound control saying, are we being spray painted? Are somebody hitting it? And all these things. I think you're into something. But I think when it comes to AI, I think that one of the areas that we have to look into is capacity planning. We need to be much more precise in our capacity planning because that our change of behavior and when we order things. In the old days, if I ordered a parcel, I was almost waiting for it, I was like, okay, I couldn't wait, and we saw also in the beginning when we put up the lockers, that most of the customers, they picked it up in the first 6 hours. Almost everybody had picked it up in the first 12 hours. Is it like that today? No, because they're ordering more parcels of less urgency and stuff like that, and maybe they order 3 parcels. Why do I have to go to the locker, for the first parcel when I'm gonna get one the next day and the next day after? So we're becoming actually a part of the storehouse as well. And that is taking, of course, capacity out of the locker. I know that Omniva, they are consolidating these into one locker. It takes a little bit of work, but I think it can be done. But another thing is that by doing correct capacity planning all the time, we are not letting our customers down. We can communicate with them that you can get your favorite locker. And you can maybe have your favorite locker if you get something in the next 12 hours. Otherwise, we can't save that favorite locker because then we can put you to the second favorite. Because we can be predictive and we can have a better return policy also. We can say that you can return it to this one because we have space there. Or you have to go to the other locker because we don't have space in your favorite locker, but we have there, but you are very welcome to drop in the parcel. I think that this capacity planning is the next big thing when it comes to utilization of this infrastructure. Because right now it's a battle about position, that.
Yep.
Everybody's putting them up almost identical places next to each other, because we all do the same algorithm. But what we're not good at is actually to plan the capacity.
And actually, you said it yourself, location intelligence, because AI can also help us make sure that we...
It already does.
And listen, let's do this, because I don't think we're going to have time to get into more detail today. It's fascinating, and I think you've talked yourself into a little job that I'd like to ask you.
Because, always happens.
We have, I think, the leading out-of-home report. I'd love to do a short chapter on AI and how it's changing things, because it talks about lockers, windows, out of home. But I think you're onto something. AI is going to be the next game changer. So if I can sort of publicly force you into sort of promising
make a call with me and we will get into that, because I think it's also extremely interesting because there are so many aspects we haven't talked about yet. When it comes to positioning, we are already using the AI to see when we are putting the locker in a position. If we don't see an implementation curve immediately, then we will not wait for it to come up to the level where we had hoped. No, we move it. And this is why lockers on batteries with a very rapid possibility to move them are becoming a part of the equation.
Of course, I have to say this, our partners Blocket have exactly that with many peripherals. Listen, this has been really, really great. I look forward to following up the discussion perhaps in our next out-of-home report. It's been really, really great, fascinating. Thank you very much for your time, Christian. Thank you for the audience for listening. And traditionally, if on LinkedIn it's posted, you've got some comments or questions for Christian or for me, please post them below.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Nice to be here.